A city of beauty, veiled in black. Let's uncover its captivating secret. Bahram Gur, the Persian king, who was raised during his childhood and youth under the care of a man named Numan, once came across a clothes shop where he saw the images of 7 beautiful women. It was foretold that he would marry them. So, he built 7 palaces, each named after a celestial body and painted in the color of the days of the week, to spend time with each woman on the day associated with her respective celestial body. On Saturday, Bahram visited the Black Palace and his Indian lady to spend the night in joy and pleasure. When the night fell, the king asked his Kashmiri lady to tell him a tale. With eyes like a gazelle, she gazed at the king and began her story. In my childhood, I heard this tale from one of my relatives. One of the servants of our family's palace was a righteous woman who always visited us once a month. She always wore black from head to toe. One day, someone asked her why she dressed in black, and being a truthful woman, she had no choice but to reveal the secret behind her black garments. She said, "Years ago, I was a maidservant in the court of a great and virtuous king. He was a man of justice and generosity, always welcoming guests into his home. Despite all the oppression and injustices he had witnessed in his life, he never stopped helping others. He owned a grand inn where he invited the poor and destitute to offer them food and water. However, he himself was always dressed in black head to toe. It was said that he once wore red and yellow garments adorned with gold and jewels, but a certain incident changed him, leading him to wear only black. Curiosity consumed me, and I begged the king to tell me the reason behind his mourning attire. Falling at his feet, I said, 'O king, you are the comforter of the poor and the destitute. Please trust me with your secret and tell me the reason behind your black clothing.' Seeing my persistence, the king finally spoke and said, 'Once, a guest arrived at my court. From his black hat to his black shoes, everything he wore was pitch black. I served him generously, but my curiosity grew, and I asked him, 'Why is everything you wear black?' He replied, 'Forgive me, I cannot say.' I insisted, and seeing my persistence, he finally said, 'There is a city in China known as the City of the Enchanted. It is like paradise, with people as radiant as the moon, but dressed entirely in black. Anyone who enters that city becomes like them, shrouded in black. Even if you kill me, I can tell you no more.' After saying this, he left, but his words ignited a fire of curiosity within me. I could not suppress my desire to uncover the truth of that city. So, I set out on a journey and traveled to the land of China until I reached the City of the Enchanted. There, I found a garden resembling heaven itself, with people as beautiful as the moon, all dressed in black. I stayed there for a year, but no one revealed the secret of their black garments to me. Then I befriended a butcher, a righteous man, and I helped him in every way I could, hoping he would share the truth with me. One day, he invited me to his house, served me food, and entertained me. When we finished eating, he returned all the gold and jewels I had gifted him and asked, 'Why have you been so generous to me? What is it you seek?' I told him I wanted to know the reason behind the black attire of the city's people. The butcher said, 'The time has come for you to discover the truth. Follow me.' He led me out of the city to a desolate place where there was a basket attached to a rope. He said, 'Sit in this basket and look around. Then you will understand why.' I climbed into the basket, and the butcher performed some magic. The basket lifted into the air like a bird, suspending me between the heavens and the earth. If the rope had snapped, I would have fallen to my death. I had no choice but to endure."
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and like.
As the sun rose, a large bird appeared and circled around me. Thinking it might save me, I grabbed its leg. The bird soared higher and eventually landed in a lush, green garden. Exhausted, I fell asleep. When I awoke, it was night. I began to explore. The garden was like paradise, filled with vibrant flowers, fruit-laden trees, streams of rose water, and air fragrant with the scent of blossoms. As I wandered, a mist descended, and in the distance, I saw several fairies. They were extraordinarily beautiful, with ruby-red lips, pearl earrings, and candles in their hands. They approached with graceful elegance, laying out a carpet, spreading cushions, and setting up a throne. Then, a radiant woman appeared, more luminous than the sun. Her beauty defied description. She descended from the heavens and seated herself on the throne. The fairies noticed me and brought me before her. I tried to sit humbly on the ground, but she said, "Rise. That is no place for an honored guest like you. Sit beside me." I sat next to her. She spoke to me, played music, offered me heavenly food, and sang enchanting songs. She poured wine into my goblet, and I drank, becoming intoxicated. I asked her for a kiss, and she gave me 1,000. Overwhelmed by desire, I reached for her waist. She smiled and said, "Tonight, be content with my kisses. Pull my hair, bite my lips, and kiss me, but ask for nothing more until tomorrow night." But I could not wait. My impatience grew, and she, seeing this, handed me one of her handmaidens and said, "Take this fairy and enjoy her company. She is here to serve you." Reluctantly, I went with the handmaiden and spent the night in her embrace. When morning came, I fell asleep and only awoke at nightfall. This continued for 30 nights. Each night, the radiant woman appeared, and each night she asked me to wait, handing me one of her fairies instead. My impatience grew unbearable. On the 30th night, I decided I could wait no longer. That night, I begged her relentlessly, saying, "I can no longer wait. I must have you tonight." She replied, "Close your eyes so I may remove my garments." I obeyed, but when I opened my eyes, I found myself back in the basket, suspended between heaven and earth. The garden, the fairies, and the radiant woman had all vanished. The butcher returned, lowered the basket, and said, "Now you understand why we were black. Had I tried to explain, you would not have believed me. You had to see it for yourself." From that day onward, the king of that tale also dressed in black, for the black garments symbolized the weakness of those who succumb to their desires and impatience.